Hey, I got an email from Alexander in Germany I wanted to reply to. I wanted to share with you why I choose to reply to email in this way. If I go back just like 15, 20 years, all my interactions with people were live, which means I could go to a seminar center somewhere, there might be 50, 100 people in the room. If somebody wanted to ask something or share something or complain about something, they could say, hey, I'm over here, and I would look at them and we would talk to each other, and there would be a real human interaction. Now, of course, the benefit of the internet is that we don't have to fly to seminar centers. We can do this, we can communicate with each other at a distance. But to my mind, the difficulty of communicating, just typing, is that we can often just get disconnected from our bodies, just get into a mental space, of exchanging basically concepts over the web. And one of the most damaging consequences of that, in my opinion, just take it or leave it, is I've noticed that we get mean. The more we have the opportunity to just shoot off little messages, boom. I'm not saying that this is true in this case, but I don't think that interacting with each other primarily through short messages like on Facebook or comments on a blog is necessarily the best thing. So when I get an email that seems like it would be useful to other people as well, it's my habit to reply by video. So Alexander wrote to me about a letter I sent out at the time of the Paris shootings. He says he gets your newsletter regularly, he feels inspired, and he thanks you. He said in the last one, it refers to the events in Paris, and it ended up propagating the new book. I felt bad as I realized this connection. Why do you mix these things? Both of them really worth writing about, but it feels like using Paris for your book. I hope you can take the feedback. So I do hear what you're saying, and certainly I can understand, and I think I would say I stand corrected. I won't do something like that again. So thank you for the feedback. At the same time, not to in any way negate what you've said, I would like to share with you a little bit about books. I wrote this book with John Gray. It took us 2 years, Conscious Men. It took us 2 years to write. You can't imagine how much time is involved to actually co-write a book with somebody. I mean, it's you make perhaps 30 cents an hour doing something like that. It doesn't make money. So it's nothing to sell. The reason we were motivated to write this book is not about awakening coaching. It doesn't even lead to any other kind of income. The reason to write this book is because we both feel that one of the most glaring vacuums to fill, the kind of value deficiency to fill in our world today, has to do with masculinity. Women have evolved tremendously in the last 100 years. They've claimed their right to vote and then to participate initially in a world made by men. Now they're participating more in recreating the world, so it has feminine values. Women have been incredibly proactive in their own evolution. And men are doing that too, but a lot of what we see as imbalanced in the world has to do with masculinity needing an upgrade. The primary determinant for me about upgrading masculinity has to do with a man having a sense of goodness, a sense of mission and purpose. It's because he runs on testosterone, which women don't so much. Because a man runs on testosterone, he needs to have a worthy mission, a worthy goal to drive his energy towards. In the absence of knowing your essential goodness, of knowing your sense of connection, of knowing that you have something to contribute, either men will fall into a kind of lethargy, just not knowing what to do with their lives, or they'll become conformist and just make money, buy the right car but feel empty, or, and this is happening increasingly, they will subscribe to radical extremist ideologies, often which are destructive. The interesting thing about ISIS, is it's not actually only or even primarily people born in Syria or Lebanon who are joining ISIS. It's people who were born in Europe, in London, in Germany, who are becoming so disenfranchised and disenchanted with the life around them that they then travel back to the land of their forefathers and join ISIS. what does it give them? Even though it's destructive, it gives them a sense of belonging to some value. Now, I would say that men subscribe to extremist ideologies and destructive ideologies in an absence of values that arise from within themselves. And that was why the events in Paris, to me, I don't see it as an opportunity to sell my book. I mean, as I said, it's not really a source of income primarily. But the events in Paris did really bring home to me the incredible vacuum of meaning which many men have today. And a vacuum of meaning is much more destructive to a man than to a woman because of the difference in hormones, in my opinion, anyway. So that was the connection for me between Paris and ISIS and San Bernardino. All these events which are needless violence. They're violence really propagated only by ideology. It's not violence propagated by greed for money or territory or any of the things that in previous times have motivated violence. It's violence propagated primarily and solely by ideology, extremist ideology. People subscribe, men subscribe to extremist ideology when they have a vacuum of meaning. I don't know if you've noticed, but almost all these terrorist acts are committed by men. If there is a woman involved, she's usually the wife of a man or she's going along with a man. Women, on the whole, women have so much beautiful things to contribute to this world. Women don't generally become the leaders of violent terrorism. They may associate with it, but it's primarily a masculine thing, and it's to do with misplaced extremist ideology. So that was, to my mind, the connection between Paris and conscious masculinity. I'm sorry if it seemed like selling. As I've said already, this is not really financially motivated. It's motivated by a desire to contribute in some way to supporting people to fill this vacuum, to find a way to be of real service to other people and to feel a sense of intrinsic goodness within yourself.